Hello everyone, it's Maha. I'm back again for part 2 of my video. Hopefully you had a chance to watch part 1 where we discussed Pluto a little bit, very briefly, and we touched on its symbolism in tarot relating to the cards which relate to Pluto and Scorpio. And in this video I'm going to talk about and show you a spread called the Fate Free Will spread. And then I'm going to show you a pendulum, which kind of relates to this whole topic. So if you're interested in learning more about Pluto, there are tons of books out there. I'm including a book in the description box called The Astrology of Fate by Liz Green. And she is an amazing author, in my opinion, and scholar. And she writes about Pluto in this book wonderfully. She goes really in depth into the mythology of Pluto and its symbolism and how it can guide you and help you in your life and in astrology. And in my opinion, you don't have to be an astrologer to read this book. It's just a very interesting book to reflect on and a good research point for Pluto. So I'm using the SilverWitchcraft Tarot deck for the spread. And I've got this spread, the Fate Free Will spread, from a book by Vicki Noble called Rituals and Practices with the Mother Peace Tarot. Vicki Noble created the Mother Peace Tarot, which is a really old tarot deck, illustrated by Vicki Noble. I'm using this deck because I was guided to use this deck, and I have the other one. However, I haven't still really connected with the images yet. So before I show you the actual spread, I really love the SilverWitchcraft Tarot deck. I know not many people are too fond of it. I haven't really found very good reviews on it personally, but I really like the deck. What I like about it, I'm just going to quickly show you. I really love the minor arcana in this deck. I love the images. They are so vibrant. The colors are so striking, and some of what I love about the pentacles, the suit of pentacles, is that there's these spider webs that connect all the beings to up above. They're all connected. The pentacles seemingly have these spider webs that go off. Oh, I'm going to show you in some examples, but look at this. This is 5 of Chalices. I love this card. I was thinking of doing it. Oh, look at this, Ace of Chalices. I was thinking of doing a review of this deck, and I haven't gotten around to it. If somebody's interested, let me know, and I'll do one. So look at this. There's these spider webs that are connected to the pentacles from all the humans and animals, and what I love about that is it reminds me of look at that, of the Spider Woman from the Native American mythology, how we're all connected. It is said that we're all connected by a thread of her web from our crown to the spirit, to the divine, to the heavens. That's what I like about that whole idea, because I love the Spider Woman, and I just thought I thought it makes a lot of sense, because in this suit of pentacles, the webs kind of connect everything to the spirit, so the physical to the spirit. And I've had some really good experiences with this deck, some amazing experiences actually, and I love the 3 of Swords in this deck. Something about it, very emotional. All the cards in this deck are sort of on the more positive meanings of the cards, which I don't usually like. But in this case, I really like it, because it's taught me a lot. With the 5 of Swords, which I don't know if I'll find right now. Oh yeah, right here. 5 of Swords was a really good one that I learned a lot by reading what it said in the book about that card. The book is great. It's by Barbara Moore, and some people don't like this deck because they don't like the major arcana cards, because they're all sitting kind of on a pedestal, as you can see, and some people find that a little weird. After reading what she says about that, I kind of understood it a lot better and connected with the major arcana more. She talks about the pedestal being sort of depending on what, because there's three kinds. There is the spiritual, I believe mental, and the physical world connected, depending on which card it is. This one's sitting on a cloud. Anyway, I'll do a review another time. Just wanted to show you briefly. I really do like this deck, and I love the back of them, back of the cards. So Vicky Noble, she is a feminist scholar who has written and researched the goddess in all her manifestations extensively. And all the books she's written are amazing. You guys, if you want to learn more about the goddess in more detail, she is so knowledgeable. So this deck is another variation on the 3-card spread, which I really like because personally I've always had a really kind of a difficult time with the typical past, present, future spread, the 3-card spread, but I really love the number 3. It's my favorite number. So when I found this deck, I thought, how perfect, because it's what I'm going through right now and what I'm thinking about and all these changes, especially with the death card and the transformation and number 16, Tower card, those 2 cards, the energy of Pluto, a fate, free will spread, couldn't be more perfect timing-wise right now. So the way the spread is that you put the cards in 3 piles and you separate the major arcana, the personality, so the court cards, and the minor arcana in 3 separate stacks. And so what you do is you shuffle each spread separately when you're picking a card. So she mentions that the major arcana are in this spread representing the workings of karma or fate, and the big archetypal energies that are going on around you. And then the people cards, or the court cards, she calls them people card, they represent your personality or soul, which is attempting to deal with the forces and archetypal powers that are at work in your life at that moment. And then the minor arcana cards, which she calls numbered cards, have to do with the area or the realm of your life where the incoming force or fate is likely to show itself or materialize. And so she asks you, when you're doing the spread, to ask yourself these 3 questions. Number 1, what is the archetypal or big force at work in my life at this time? Number 2, how am I channeling or working with this force? That is, how am I handling or managing it as it moves through my life? Number 3, where in my life is it likely to manifest or take shape? That is, in what realm am I likely to be able to see it? So in that order, you ask yourself, those are the questions that you think about when you're pulling a card from each of those 3 piles. So I'm just going to read you a paragraph about what she says about the major arcana cards, or the fate karma cards. The majors represent forces much larger than our individual egos, and therefore things we are unlikely to be able to change or affect on our own. This is where you learn to let go, to trust the universe, or go with the flow, and to try and align with something bigger or higher than your own ego structure. You can't change the situation represented by the major arcana cards. The personal work indicated here involves getting out of the way, trying not to resist the events and happenings in your life, rather than flailing at the universe or forcing your will where things don't seem to be working. It can be a comfort to know that there's something larger than the individual. So that's what it says about working with the major arcana cards. I highly recommend that book to you as well. Like I said, she's written many different books. This is just a small book, just based on a 1.5 year practices with the tarot, getting to know the tarot on deeper levels by doing these routine exercises per week that she recommends. And I'm going to start with this one. I haven't yet, but like I said, I only did that last draw back in January or in end of December that I talked about in the last video. So next, I'm going to show you something very exciting, my very first pendulum. Yay! I have never had a pendulum in my entire life. Can you believe that? I mean, everybody I know has a pendulum and I don't. And the reason I never wanted to get one is, you know, I really thought about it. I just thought, why don't I want to get a pendulum? I think it's because I mean, not that I think, and this is exactly what the reason was, because I didn't trust myself. I felt like I would be almost cheating in a way by trying to move the pendulum consciously in a direction that I want the answer to be. Like if it's a yes, you know, no. I just couldn't really trust it. And then I'm going to talk about this pendulum in particular. But before I thought about buying one, my friend, I have a friend who, well, she's my friend. She's a dear friend. She's much older than me. She is in her late 80s, actually. And I see her quite often in the swimming pool where I go, because I've told you guys before that I love swimming, and I go on a regular basis because it's so good for my back. And so I've met this lady, and she's become my friend, and she is so amazing. She's so full of love and light, and she does acupuncture. She does a lot of light work, and she works with pendulums. So she always tells me, you know, I am always using my pendulum. She trusts her pendulum 100%, always asks her pendulum questions. She's really cute. By the way, she has a partner who is, I think, something like 20 years younger, much younger. And he is in love with her. He's an amazing man himself, very spiritual. And my friend, she's so cute. She says that sometimes when she's by herself and she's wondering if he's thinking about her, she'll ask the pendulum. I thought that was really cute. But it's because of her that I started thinking more about pendulums. And then, but I couldn't really get myself to buy one just because I just didn't trust that I would not be controlling its movements. Which is why I'm going to say it's so appropriate for me. But when I saw this one, I'll tell you why I was so attracted to this one. Because this one is, I saw this in a store, just walking by in a crystal shop, and I noticed it's the shape of the Merkaba, which I love. I love that geometric shape. And it's a green aventurine, which is one of my favorite crystals. So I thought, you know, I just love this pendulum. It's so cool, and it has a clear quartz. It's made from silver. It was a very good price. So I just visually really liked it, and then I got it. And, you know, another reason why I always thought I don't want to use a pendulum is because I didn't want to depend on anything outside of my own intuition, if that makes any sense. And then I started thinking that maybe the real reason why I don't want to use a pendulum is because I have a really hard time letting go of my conscious mind, of letting things be. What I was talking about in my earlier video, in the first part, if you saw it. And I think, you know, I thought to myself, maybe this will be a good practice for me, especially because, by the way, I went and researched the geometric shape Merkaba, and that particular shape stands for communication with the higher worlds, higher mind. And so I thought, what a perfect combination, because green aventurine is linked to Mercury, the planet of the mind and the intellect. So using this pendulum, in a way, by using it, I'm connecting my personal intellect, my personal mind, to that higher mind. So the pendulum kind of acts like an in-between, like a bridge between these two, my own mind and the divine mind. So I got it with the intention that I'm going to learn to let go of my mind, my conscious mind, which always wants to control everything, and use this tool to quiet my mind and to focus my mind and just to be, to let go. And before I let you go, I'm going to read you that paragraph I promised from Liz Green's book, The Astrology of Fate. So, like I said in my first part of my video, there is this whole idea in modern astrology that we have 100% control, we have free will of everything that happens in our lives, we have control of. And then in ancient astrology, there was this whole idea that everything is pre-written, that the fates or the Moira are responsible for all the changes that happen in our lives, and we don't have any say in that. So Liz Green talks about what she calls the middle place of coming into balance with these two extremes, where we find the balance in our life regarding the fate and free will. Just like the spread that I showed you, same idea, where by using that spread, we can come into balance between the two extremes of having full control or having no control, finding that balance in our own life. So she says in the book, apart from the difficulties of entering into the intermediary middle place, there is the problem of comprehending what it might mean. Does fate really transform? Or is it the attitude of the individual towards whatever is his necessity that changes, and therefore creates a new relationship with the fate, which is permeated with a subjective sense of meaning and choice? Perhaps this is what Jung means by free will being the ability to do gladly what one must do, for the operative word gladly implying a discovery of meaningfulness which makes the fate feel right and what one would have chosen oneself. Or is it that fate dictates a pattern which cannot be altered but leaves open the possibility that the pattern may manifest itself in several different modes through several different levels of experience? Whatever the answer might be, and I do not possess it, something certainly seems to happen through encounter with that middle place. It is that something which I would like now to explore further. And with that, I'll leave you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. And I'd love to read your comments. Take care. See you in the next videos. Bye-bye.